Hey everyone, my name is Seth Yolorda, and I am an organizational development consultant. And what that basically means is that I work with both individuals and organizations to really help them clarify who they are, where they're going, and how they're going to get there. Something that I really strive to do is to allow my clients to really experience high levels of productivity and high levels of purpose and performance. That's something that I found every individual wants in life. They want to be able to perform at a high level. They want to be able to remain extremely productive and to have a lot of clarity on where they're going and how they're going to get there. And in particular, what I do is every Sunday morning, I work with a group of individuals who are just really trying to double down on their life. They want to make sure that they don't leave anything on the table, that they accomplish all of the purposes and the dreams that they feel God has placed in their heart. It's actually called the Extraordinary Life Program. And we meet Sunday mornings for about 90 minutes, and we just talk about clarity. We talk about productivity, where they're going, what they need to be doing, what they're focusing on, helping them kind of map out their life and really deal with some themes from their life so they can stay focused on achieving their highest goals. Now, something interesting happened today when we had our call is that someone asked a question. They said, you know what, I often have a vision for my life. I know what I want to do. I know what the goal is, but then life happens. Life happens, whether I get a kid who gets sick, go through some financial difficulty, maybe a relationship ends, I have stress in my home, I lose a job. Like life just happens. And when life happens, it kind of throws me off my game. And a lot of times I don't really know how to pick myself back up and to get back on the horse to pursue the goals and the dreams and the vision that I believe God has given me for my life. And I think that is a question that so many individuals can relate with on so many levels. Like we all kind of intuitively know kind of in our spirit what we want to do. Like it may not be super clear, but we have like a foggy understanding of like where I'm going and what I'm trying to achieve in my life. But the reality is that life happens. Like we get a flat tire, drama happens on our job, drama happens in our home, like just stuff happens. They call it Murphy's Law. Like negative stuff happens. Weeds grow in our garden. And then when we start to experience these weeds, then it almost feels like, well, maybe I shouldn't be pursuing this. Maybe I shouldn't be going after this. It's actually what I like to call disruption. Disruption happens in our life. And I just want to tell you that if you're alive, you will experience disruption. Like there is no one who has ever experienced high levels of achievement who have not gone through high levels of disruption. I mean, think about some of the most accomplished sports stars or basketball players or football players. Every single last one of them had to endure disruption. They all went through challenges. They all went through difficulty. They all went through setbacks and roadblocks and different situations that happened in their life that really prevented them from living their best life. But they were able to endure, to press through, and to still achieve high levels of success. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what you can do when you find yourself experiencing, whether it's disruption or whether it's disappointments or setbacks or just weeds, right? Weeds in your garden. You planted roses, weeds are growing. What do you do? Well, I want to use this framework for you to really help you understand this. So for all of us, we're just kind of moseying along in our life, like minding our own business. Maybe we're pursuing some goals, and then something happens. And that something happens, we're going to call this like an event. Like an event happens in our life. And this event, most of the time, is a negative event. So a negative event happens, and rather than us continuing to like mosey along in our life, it's almost as if we start to experience a downward trend. And when we experience this downward trend, it can be characterized by depression, discouragement, financial loss, like physical health loss, like something is happening, some type of negative event is happening, which then impacts our ability to continue to pursue our goals. But what I want to share with you is that, these events in life, they are inevitable. It's going to happen. Weeds are going to grow. But what we are in control of is how we respond to those events. And so let's draw this out again. Let's imagine that there is an event that happens. And when this event happens, every single time there is a reaction or there is a response. And that reaction or response is what you and I do. We react or we respond to that event. Now, a lot of times our reaction and our response is within seconds, like nanoseconds. We react very quickly to whatever is happening around us. Now, what I want to share is what goes on behind the scenes, because every single one of us, we don't just go from event to response, but there's actually a middle section, and this middle section is called my truth. Every event that you experience is filtered through a truth lens. This truth lens is actually called, it is your map, your M-A-P, your map. So an event happens, and then automatically your map about the event then informs what your response to that event will be. So let's say, for example, I determine that I'm going to lose some weight. And then I say I'm going to get a gym membership and I'm going to go work out every single day for the next, 6 months. Some huge goal. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And that's great. But then all of a sudden, I get a flat tire. And when I get a flat tire, I realize, oh man, I can't work out today. And then what that flat tire does, that event, the event, that flat tire is the event, what that flat tire does is I filter it through my truth. And that my truth, man, I can never get ahead. My truth might be, every time I try to do something right, something bad happens. My truth might be, you know what? It's not even worth it anymore. I missed a day. I might as well just throw in the towel. So an event happened, but then your response to that event or your reaction to that event is filtered through your truth about yourself in relationship to that event. And when you filter that event through your map or through your truth, and then you respond, that response leads to what we like to call a result. And that result is you not going to the gym, you throwing in the towel, you not pursuing your goals, whatever your fitness goals were. And that result then leads to a new event. I missed one day because I told myself, man, I can never get ahead. I missed a second day because I told myself, well, I already missed yesterday. I might as well not even go today. And then a third day, and it begins to spiral and snowball further and further down the hill. So what we need to understand is that every single last one of us are going to have what we call these negative events. These are negative events. We're all going to have them. The difference is how you respond to those negative events. And your response is based 100% on your map or your truth about that event. So for example, if something again happens to you and you filter it through your truth, and your truth says, I knew this was going to happen. I'll never get ahead. I know I can never win. Every time I try to do something, something bad happens. God is against me. Something's wrong with me. If that's your truth, if that's your map, it will lead to a certain response. And that response will then lead to a result, which then leads to another event. And it's this cycle. However, if your reaction, or if your truth rather, about that event that happened to you is less negative, but more positive, like, oh man, I got a flat tire. You know what? It's all good. I needed to change my tires anyway. Or, man, I got a flat tire and I don't really have the money, but I'm still going to persevere. And you lean in and you have grit and resilience and determination. Your response to that negative event will be so much different. And the result you will get from that response will be so much different than what you have previously experienced. And so every single one of us, when it comes to setting goals, when it comes to achieving things, when it comes to doing the things that we feel God has called us to do, we're all going to experience negative events. The challenge is, what truth are we telling ourselves about those negative events? And is that truth hurting us, or is that truth helping us? Now, the beautiful thing about this is that every single one of us are in charge of our truth. Like, I can't control the negative events. I can't control the car accident. I can't control the flat tire. I can't control the cancer diagnosis. I can't control if my wife decides to leave me or if my children never want to talk to me. Like, there's some things I just cannot control, generally speaking. But I can always control the story I'm telling myself about those things. I can always control my map. So what I want you to do is I want you to acknowledge your map. I want you to say, you know what? Okay, this event just happened. I'm telling myself that this is why the event happened, But this might not actually be why the event happened. It might be for some other reason, or what's an alternative reason for why this event happened. And when you can do that consistently over time, I promise you, you will begin to realize that negative events no longer have the same bearing and no longer have the same impact on your life, but you're able to transform those negative events into a positive result. So I just wanted to leave this with you, that as you're goal setting and as you're working towards productivity and you're trying to accomplish a vision for your life, understand that negative events will happen, but what you are in control of is what you tell yourself about those negative events. Listen, I hope this was helpful, and if it was, I would just ask that you would like and subscribe, and if you're interested in joining this Sunday morning's Extraordinary Life cohort, just drop me a message below or DM me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll give you all the information you need about it. Have a wonderful day.